The first item on our agenda is the consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. The first item of business is the request of Brian Westervelt to install a picket fence at 1023 Jackson Street. Thank you. Are you Mr. Westervelt?
Yes, I am.
All
Brian
right.
Westervelt at 1023 Jackson Street.
All righty, thank you. If you will tell us about your request, please.
We'd like to build a wooden picket fence across the front of the yard. You can see there the outline around the front of the house and where it'll meet up with the house. Those are the dimensions that you requested on each section. Sorry for my cheesy PowerPoint right there. That's the style picket we'll be using. They're 3.5 foot pickets. They'll be cut to length. I know the length or the height can't be over 3 feet. So those will be cut going across. I'd like the posts to be 3.5 feet tall, just as you see there, just to kind of make it the posts stand out. And then on top of the post, we put those caps on top, if that's allowed. If you go back to I state that there are 4x4 posts. The 2 posts on the front walkway in the middle that lead up to the house, those would actually be 6x6s to support the gate and just to make them sturdier and stand out to show that that's the gate going up to the front door. Sorry, I was just kind of mapping out there. I'm sure you guys already read through everything. It'll be, once it dries, I did put in there, and you can see where it's going to. I won't actually attach it to the house. It'll go on the side behind where the chimney cuts back to kind of mask it, but I'm not going to actually attach it to the house because I don't want to go into the brick or anything like that. The one spot there where it goes down between us and the neighbor's house, not along a street or anything like that, it's offset, I think about 6 foot, something like that. I put the actual dimension in there, so it's not anywhere near the property line or anything like that, and she's fine with it. We get along well with her and everything like that, and allows for maintenance on that side. That's between our house and hers, off the street going back. I know it needs to be painted. You can see we're actually going to paint it the exact same color as the trim and everything on our house. It's like an off-white kind of cream color. We would request that, about 2 months before we paint it to make sure all the wood's dry and everything before we prime and paint it so nothing peels or anything like that. And I have a moisture gauge to actually measure it, and when it's done, we'll paint it.
Has there been a fence there before? Or just the
You can
wall?
tell years ago, if you go back to, or scroll up a couple more, one more, you'll see, there's a picture of the sidewalk out front.
Yeah.
Years ago, you could see that keep going, one more, right there. That sidewalk on front, you can see,
Yeah.
but they had cut a metal fence off at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't have it or anything like
Or
that.
they put it up.
I did not do that. But, they're all cut off. It's just little metal pegs going out front. If I had it, I would do it, but,
Yeah.
I don't.
How about the gate? What kind of gate?
It'll just be a swing gate. It'll actually be right like that. It'll be the same style as the fence, so looking at it, it'll look clean all the way across. But the gate will open up.
Okay. There questions, comments?
I have one I'm hoping Ben can keep us honest with. So if the height of the fence is 3 feet, are the posts allowed to exceed that?
Further?
How tall is the post gonna be?
3.5.
That's fine. Our zoning ordinance stipulates 4 feet.
4 feet.
Okay, so I noticed on the first page it said 3. Are we out of date on our guidelines?
So the guidelines are different than the zoning requirements.
Okay, fair
That's
enough.
correct. When I called, talking to the zoning, he said 4 foot, but I know that the Preservation Council's limit is 3 feet for the fence itself.
Other questions or comments?
I think it would be a nice addition. It's a beautiful house.
Yeah.
Beautiful house. Right, a fantastic addition to add that fence.
Is there a motion?
Could I just ask one more question?
Oh, sure.
With each one of those elevated posts, as you recall, is in every spot of those you would have a high post? Like, is that like a?
Yeah, where everything's elevated above. I mean, it's not drawn to, I didn't do it to scale.
Gotcha.
But each post would be above, and then it would be capped on top, and everything would be painted. Yeah, with that cap right there on the top of each one of those posts. The 6x6s and the 4x4s, all the way around.
Do we have any like this in the district that have so many like posts up high?
There's one on Federal, there's one on Federal Street
Yeah.
that's actually for sale, and they have a picket fence out front. It's kind of like a sage color kind of thing or whatever. And, you know, the posts to be 5 foot apart and stuff like that. Theirs is a little bit further, but their posts also come above higher than the actual fence itself.
Is that a, I know we don't have Emmett here, but is that like a historic pattern, like a trend of, I'm just curious what that look is like to have so many.
I don't know.
Okay.
The one on Federal, the actual pickets, they're scalloped going down. We were just gonna do ours straight across. I don't know if there's a historical difference between the two or not, but
Don't know either.
I don't-
You have other questions?
No, I just think, I don't know, the higher posts is
Yeah.
interesting. I feel like it sort of makes sense at the doorway more
Maybe
than.
I'll break it up, actually. So do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve as submitted.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, you're good to go.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is the request of William Bone and Jennifer Wolfter to modify an existing driveway and remove a rock wall at 1990 Woodlawn Avenue. Thank you. You will tell us your name, please.
Hi, I'm Charlie Morris from Morris Construction, representing Mr. Bond and Mrs. Woofter.
Okay, if you will tell us your proposal.
So the proposal is to add one parking spot, basically redo their asphalt driveway, exactly what they have, just add this parking spot. It would be the lined area to the left over there, and also expand the entryway, which is on Hollis Street. There is a small retaining wall right there, and that has been clipped quite a few times by people trying to turn in and out over the years. It doesn't have any functionality. We were going to retain the stone on site, but remove that and carry that entryway most of that way, pretty much all the way to that fence line.
Well, the stone goes all the way around the front of the
It
house.
does, it does. We're not touching that stone, yeah.
Yeah.
Just this one little section. And then we would add right behind the portico is where that extra parking spot would be.
What's the distance between the two stone posts right now?
It's maybe 12 feet at most,
Well,
but yeah, it's not a very good, they've got an RV and, trailer or, even a regular sized truck. It's kind of a tight turn,
yeah.
yeah.
No,
Yeah,
our
the-
guidelines say that stone walls original to the dwelling should not be removed.
And I'm not sure if it is or isn't, I'm
I
not sure.
suspect it is. There
Um,
are similar walls on Rivermont and also on Cabell, and I expect they were done at the same time, probably have the same purpose.
It is greenstone, so I know it is older. But, like I said, it's been damaged over the years several times already, and, you know, even if we could expand that entryway to some extent, that would be helpful for them.
You're paving behind the wall, you're paving that whole rectangle, if you
Yeah,
will?
that's actually got asphalt behind there already.
Right,
It's just
I
kind of
noticed that.
overgrowing with grass right now.
But
But,
your intent is to go from the wall to the fence line?
about 3 feet from the fence line, but
Okay.
yes, sir. Mhm.
The asphalt now goes, I know there's grass there, but under that, the asphalt goes all the way to
Just
the
a-
rock?
Just about, it's not quite to it, but it's about a foot, maybe 2 feet off of it, but it's definitely under there in most places.
I can speak for myself. Personally, I would be more inclined to allowing you to make it wider. I know some of these are tight. I'm not in favor of removing the whole section if we can avoid it. I understand that, like you said, large vehicles and whatnot can be a
Yeah.
challenge, and it's been hit before. Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. Is there middle ground? Did they, what's?
I haven't spoken to them about a, you know, concession as far as that goes. They liked they wanted that originally, and so that's what we have gone with. But I'm sure that anything would be better than what they currently have.
Would you,
So,
like, take 6 foot off one and 6 foot off
I
the other?
don't
I
want to
don't
mess
think-
with the other one.
Yeah, if I follow him, he doesn't want to touch the one, if you're facing the house on the left.
And that's actually, it does serve a purpose at a certain point. It is actually a retaining wall. This one is not retaining anything. So it serves no purpose in that aspect.
It's historic.
Except aesthetics. It's already asphalt, so I'm okay with asphalt being expanded. I'm a little more ambivalent about the wall coming down. I see that it is damaged, but it's not heavily damaged. It's certainly, there's a house right across the street that also has a greenstone wall. It's part of the historic makeup of the neighborhood. It's going to be difficult to get an RV in there for sure, but not impossible. I don't know, it's something about a greenstone wall that's so Lynchburg, that's so part of an historic district, that I would approve expanding the asphalt that's already there, but not approve taking the wall down.
Can we see the guidelines again for walls?
It says you don't take them down.
Right.
Yeah,
So.
I read that this
It
afternoon
doesn't
again.
It was-
That's why I'm.
say you may,
Yeah.
or we may, or you don't.
Right.
Is it said each one's considered its own merit, but we all read over our
Yeah.
own guidelines too, so.
Yeah.
Like not our guidelines, the guidelines that are established that we follow.
So
It's
why
talking
are
about
you suggesting
reconstructing, not
take
removing.
part of the wall?
The-
Is that what you're
If,
saying?
with the picture that was up, the right-hand section, I can understand wanting to, like where it's already been hit a few times, taking 3 or 4
3 to 4 feet would probably be
off of
just
it,
fine,
And
to be
allowing
honest.
them to, you know, pull in without striking it or what have you. It's, yeah, I haven't looked up close, but we can see it's pretty damaged already.
It's not all that damaged. I got out
No?
and looked at
Okay.
it. Yeah, yeah.
It's not terrible, no.
No,
But it has
no.
been clipped.
Did it used to go to
The
the
UPS
pavement,
drivers and
could you
stuff like
tell?
that.
I can't, no.
Couldn't make that out.
No.
And also, you know, if you go look right across Hall Street, they've got that Renault apartment building over there, and they've redone, I know they didn't have to remove a wall, but they have a nice wide entryway and things like that, so that's kind of where they were going with it in their mindset, hoping that they could kind of mimic a nice, smooth entryway into their driveway.
But you're proposing to take all the asphalt out
The asphalt's gonna be ripped up and then replaced.
with what?
Asphalt. New asphalt.
Oh,
It's gonna be re-asphalted.
I guess I couldn't figure out what, well,
They can do that because it is asphalt now.
That's right.
So
Oh.
when you
Kind.
Okay.
replace with
All right.
in kind, that's why I didn't leave that, so.
The addition would be subject, but again,
Yeah.
I mean, you want it to be uniform
Yeah,
as much
it'd
as you
be
can.
kind of picky.
Right.
Is this an apartment building or single
This
family?
is a single home.
Huh.
I think it used to be a school, New Covenant, maybe? If I'm not mistaken, maybe.
Seven
I'm not sure.
Hills.
Seven Hills, is that what it was?
Yes.
Originally, right, the Virginia School of the Arts had it, part of, was that part of the Virginia School of the Arts as well after Seven Hills?
I don't think so.
In any case,
BSA was
Seven
at
Hills was Garland
Garland Road
Roads.
School,
Yeah.
so.
It's a beautiful house.
So,
This was Seven
So-
Hills and the dorms were across the street in the apartments
yeah,
now.
that we approved, yeah. That was the headmistress and
Mhm.
the offices, so. So how
I see what
do,
you're saying.
how do people feel about, asking how the homeowners feel about removing a small portion of that wall?
I think that might be a good compromise.
Yeah,
I'll be
sure.
okay with that too. There's, Eve, can you go to, two pictures after that? Yeah, that one. So there's you see how the wall kind of like steps up and down? So right next to the driveway where it's like a lower step, I would say maybe just that section right there, because that would give them an extra like 3 feet or so of driveway. Yeah, just that right there, because then it looks more I feel like that's a natural break, because then the next one is higher. And that's sort of, I think that's how it falls on the other side too, if I'm
Right.
not mistaken. Is it higher first on the other side?
It should be
Or-
higher on the end.
Yeah, so then it would kind of match a little bit. But I'd be hesitant to take too much from it. But I would be okay with like maybe just that one section to get, a couple extra feet on the driveway for uniformity.
What is that
And you think-
stake there? Could you cut it back to
On
where that
the-
stake is?
I don't think that's.
What is
in
that?
the guidelines.
Yeah,
That's-
cut it back to
No,
there?
It's too much,
It's
Too much?
too much,
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah.
This is a huge property where they couldn't maybe
It's
find
over
another
an
place
acre.
to park an RV. I'm really hesitant, I'm usually someone who wants to work with people. I'm really hesitant to take any greenstone wall down that's been there probably since the house was built. I guess we can take the very end off if people are okay with that, but then we're getting into our own personal taste in some ways about
Right.
that and thinking about maneuvering giant vehicles, which we're trying to do.
Yeah, and their intent is
Yeah.
not to park their RV in their driveway continuously,
Okay.
but, just to bring it in, to load it up and things like that. And I think UPS and FedEx, those trucks have hit the wall as well, when they've turned in before. So, just expanding it, I think any would give them some solace, in this situation.
So 3 feet would be a lot, because there is grass on both sides.
For my own understanding, you're saying 3 feet of wall or just 3 more feet of pavement?
Of pavement too. That's
It looks
what
like
I,
you've got at least a foot and a half of grass on the other
Right,
side, so,
right.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then just that one lower piece.
Like those two, yeah.
yeah.
Assuming that's a
Maybe
natural
2 blocks.
break.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So I'll make a motion to approve the application, but not amending it, with the exception of removing the wall. My proposal or my motion is to only move the first bottom and block above it on the right-hand side facing the side of the house.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Are we clear enough on that, Eve, that,
Yeah. I can include a graphic showing.
yeah, okay.
That would be great.
And you're clear what we're
Yes, ma'am.
asking?
Yes.
Okay.
How about the extra parking space behind the portico and turnaround area?
We're approving that.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
including that.
Thank
you.
My motion anyways, we'll see how they vote,
Appreciate it.
but that's what I'm teeing up.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is the request of Greg Bentz of TT Rehab LLC to control the lead hazard by replacing windows and doing work at 1306 Rivermont. Thank you. If you would tell us your name and your address.
Greg Vance with 1306 Rivermont. That's up to E. Can I get Susan on the phone with the state?
Yeah, you could have called Susan,
Susan Hill.
Hill from Virginia Department of Housing and Community Development.
Okay.
She's the one that's kind of spearheading it.
Who owns the property?
I do, but she's the director of lead hazard. It's a grant through Richmond.
Oh,
So they're the ones
Hi,
doing
Greg.
all the, hey, how you doing?
Hi, good, thanks.
Thanks. This is Susan Hill, by the way. I'm here. I got you on speakerphone.
Oh, okay.
You want to you want to go ahead and take it from here on the request?
Yes, she needs to explain the nature of the request.
Yeah. I got you on speakerphone. You can go ahead.
Oh, okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for hearing our petition today. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person, but I'm happy that Greg Betts, the property owner, could be. You will see that we've proposed lead remediation work through our lead hazard reduction program, which is a HUD-funded program intended to reduce lead-based paint hazards in the home of eligible households. And we look forward to making lead-safe housing throughout Lynchburg. We've already done a few projects, and this is the first one in a historic district that has needed this level of review. So we appreciate your input on our proposed work. The rhythm we've worked out with the Department of Historic Preservation at the state level is typically to repair or rehab street-facing windows and then replace the sides and rear with a product called Legacy. Legacy is a cellular PVC. It is the product we've used in really almost all of our really all of our window repair projects that have needed window repairs. It is used exclusively in the city of Richmond. Recently, Suffolk approved it for one of their properties, and it's also what we've used in Lynchburg under those that did not require board approval. It is, while the state cannot endorse or recommend a specific product, this is a product that is really just our main go-to. Of course, we would like to use wood. That would be our preference, particularly on the front. Unfortunately, due to the time limits we have within our program to meet these grant deliverables, wooden windows take upwards of 6 months to come in. So unfortunately, they are usually not prescribed. That's why we go the rehab route on the front and then the Legacy on the side, which is what we've proposed to you today. Hope everyone can hear me again. I'm sorry not to say all that in person.
Thank you.
no, you're
Yes,
fine.
right here.
Fine.
I think you sent us an email. This is the same product or very similar to what we've seen before, correct?
Yes. There's so many windows on this house.
Right.
Tell me about it.
So many windows.
I admire what you're doing. That looks like no small task.
It's a money pit.
You know, it's interesting, that house,
No, it's
you have to
similar to
look
ours.
for it almost.
Yeah,
Going
yeah.
down the avenue.
We've almost got the right side stucco done. It's just,
Yeah.
everything was just rotted to the core, so.
So now you have more before us than just windows, right?
What is it?
You have more before us than windows, that you have some paint and,
No, I think everything was, well, when I bought the home, it was already on Keith's desk and Juliet's to get the stucco repaired. So they approved the stucco, and we just went back with the same color. It was kind of like a cream Swiss coffee color, so we
Yeah.
matched it up close, pretty much. I took some chips in there, and it ended up being close to Swiss coffee. So what you see as of today was close as we could get to the original color.
The application though, like letter C says replace trim, soffit, fascia.
Oh,
et cetera.
okay. Oh, yeah, Susan. So anything, those are the stuff that had the lead as well, all the rotted wood and lead-based paint. Wasn't that going back with wood as well?
Yes, we would replace anything with like materials. Yeah, anything that needed to be, that couldn't be rehabbed would be replaced with a like material. What? And I caught part of what you were saying, Craig.
Yeah. So none of the stucco came back lead positive, surprisingly, but all the soffits and fascia on the second floor and around, that was all lead positive.
And there's a couple of items on here that could have been administratively approved, but they can't really move forward with the project if one part is approved and the other is not, so we just kept it all together.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So we did approve similar windows on Cabell Street. Bill, you weren't on the commission then, but they look fine. You would not know them.
And we also learned that other historic cities in the states, their districts have approved these and used them as well. That's kind of a precedent that we don't, yeah.
Yeah. And my goal here, I mean, I provide fair market housing. I do Merriam House, Horizon Behavioral Health, and HUD, or Housing Authority. So, I know on the street facing ones, I'm probably not going to win this one, but the biggest obstacle I face is with my low income tenants when it comes, even I'm putting brand new heat pumps in here, but with these single pane windows, it kills them. And they're on a low income budget, half the time their phone's off. So I face this, every time in the middle of winter, they're like, windows, but, and this home will be probably going through Merriam House or Housing Authority. Their waiting list is a mile long, so, so anything I could do in the front as well, even if we have to wait in the wood or,
And there will be wooden windows on the front.
Well, what's left of them,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
there's not
okay.
much to them, but half of them have been busted out and they're just
Yeah.
dangling on by some rotted piece of wood, but.
Susan wanted the option, I know she mentioned the timeline of the delivery, but she wanted the option if it's viable to go with repairs or to replace them with wood on the front.
There's only 3 windows, isn't
What do you got?
there? 4.
Is it just 4 in the front,
Yeah.
on the upstairs and downstairs?
Oh, well,
Yeah, so it's a multi-unit, this,
Oh,
the window was converted, but this is a multi-unit property.
hmm.
The entrance to that's the main, obviously the front doors for the downstairs, and then around back, there's a staircase that goes up to the top unit. I guess the previous owner, she used to work for the city, she retired, and then, so she lived downstairs, and her son rented the top unit, well, he didn't rent it from her, but he used to live up there. So this will provide a home to 2 families.
So I don't know if I was tracking you with what you said at the end on repairing the front windows. And keep me in line with your vision here. When I read repair, I thought that was repair what's there with, a single pane and whether it's new glazing or what have you. But a moment ago, you said a double pane.
Well, I just, for my low-income tenants, I was just reiterating the fact that the single pane windows, it's always a problem when it comes to, energy efficiency and
So
utility bills, but.
I'm not a window repair expert. Are you saying that you can repair a single pane with a double pane in the same window?
I was hoping there would be an option for the wooden windows. I'm not sure, Susan, if that's even viable, but if we could get the front-facing windows to when most of them are all busted out. I mean, that one's not open. That one just doesn't, there's nothing in that window because it's been busted out. And I think the one upstairs, that's a storm window on the outside. It's also busted out, or we stuck something in there to keep rain from coming in. So the 2 downstairs windows, I think those are probably more repairable than the 2 upstairs ones.
Right, again, I'm just trying to track. I thought she had said that because of the time limitations, that new ones weren't an option.
Susan?
Yes, I mean, we have terms in which we have to get these funds out the door. And to wait 6 months for a wooden window just doesn't fit within those parameters. We also have had a contractor look at them, and we believe it can be salvaged. And if we have to work with another resource to salvage what's there, we can. I mean, I would of course, advocate alongside Greg. I think the Legacy would provide a wonderful option for the front and have a lot of other benefits too. But again, we are just trying to keep with what we've been guided from the state level historic resources.
I mean, another problem I face, sorry, is
No, that's all.
it's like when Janice comes out for housing, you know, these old wood windows, if they don't go up properly, they don't stay up for fire hazard, you know, HUD instantly fails me for Section 8. So that's always a problem. Plus, this happened on Campbell Avenue the other day. You know, she tried to open up a old single pane window and the glass just shattered in her hand. Most of my tenants, you know, have multiple young children, so you know, it's always
I assume repairing them would address all of that.
But well, it's still a single pane windows. They still break
Agreed.
quite easily. So, you know, it's just, I guess, my rental market's a little bit different. You know, like I said, I'm dealing with low-income families with multiple kids, so it's always a hazard.
I'm empathetic, but this property falls in a historic district,
I know.
right? So
I get it, yeah. And I'm just trying to provide housing to the low-income families that are, I mean, I've had multiple homeless living in a truck, so.
So could I ask, I guess for my colleagues, the windows that they're proposing that the state is accepting, what do we feel those fit within the guidelines? Because if we do, that sort of speaks to what all the things that he's asking.
no,
On the side and the rear there.
Okay, but not for the front. So
if I'm following, they can't get them in time for the front.
Well, if they're wood, no, we can get the legacy windows within 30 days. It's just, if we had to go wooden on the front, yeah, it's gonna take 4 to 6 months.
So are the legacy windows considered a viable option for the front, I guess is what
I think if the windows can be repaired, that then there's no option.
Yeah, I'm just still stuck with a
Yeah.
single pane window that honestly, the
But
kid's gonna
not
break.
many.
They just I mean, I constantly have to repair these single pane windows and the kid goes and touches it and they break. I mean, and it's a single pane window, it's not energy efficient but, you know, obviously, it's just, you know.
Yeah, I'm, again, speaking for myself, I'm more in the camp of the commissioner where if they can be repaired, they should be
They should
repaired.
be.
The ones that are beyond repair, I'm with you and what
But I
you-
was gonna say, if, let's just say, if
Just
there was a
the
front-facing windows beyond repair, I mean, what are my options? If it's just complete, you know, half the ropes are cut
But
out.
she's just said they can be repaired, so.
Yeah, until the
So
guys
it's-
actually get in there and start doing the work, I don't, you know, to me, I think it's a grain of salt. I mean, until they get in there and start seeing start ripping things out. I mean, if they can, yeah. I just deal with these old wooden windows. Every time housing comes in, they're like, hey, this window doesn't stay up. And, you know, the kid's gotta be able to get out and fail, and then, you know, they go back into the chalkboard. I mean, they have a list this long of violations that in all these old homes in Lynchburg. It's a constant battle with the housing authority. Miriam House and Horizon Behavioral Health, they're a lot more lenient. But, you know, when you get Janice in there, they're not so lenient when it comes to kid safety, so.
But you know, once a wooden window is properly repaired, I did this in my house, and they go up and down just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So-
I get that. So,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes a house full of 5 or 6 children, you know, messing with the windows and those single pane windows, they're just, you know, it's just a hazard. I mean, I know not everybody rents to the target market I do, but it's definitely a hazard for my tenants. And,
Of course, 5 or 6 kids might have lived there in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s too. I hear what you're saying, but I want to make sure I'm clear about the lead hazard, which is, of course, all these old houses have lead. And how does that affect your application? I mean, you have HUD, so.
absolutely, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it could affect me. I could get a lawsuit. I mean, if they come back test positive and I know there's lead in the house, which I do know now, I mean, yeah, they would, if their kid gets high lead levels, then they just sue my company. And
Okay, so what do you do about that? You have to step way back.
Oh, I mean, well, that's-
there's lead all over all these houses. So what
Yep.
do you do to
So-
abate the leads, to make sure that those kids are safe and that you don't get sued?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I've got 30 homes in this program already. They send a lead abatement contractor. I mean, he's certified. He has all his employees are certified. You know, they wet scrape the paint. They have obviously tarps in the exterior, HEPA vacuum cleaners, and they have a whole step. I mean, even that report, some of those reports are 50 pages long. They send F&R from Roanoke. Roanoke's been doing this for 30 years, they told me. So they come over. I mean, I've got one in Wadsworth, Euclid, kind of a little bit of everywhere. and they're gonna abate everything. They come back and send Luke back out to check everything. If one thing is, comes back lead positive, they send the team back out there again and until it's completely safe. And that's what this program's for. And it's not just me. I went to Diamond Hill Rec Center the other day and spoke to a bunch of people. So there's more than just myself doing this, trying to clear up this lead hazard.
Does this make you eligible for tax credits? Did I read that somewhere?
I'm not sure on that. I mean, I do the tax abatement through Stephen Wilder, but this program, Susan, this started was it last year? I think I put my application about 8 months ago.
Yeah, it's just been offered for two years at the most, just going on 2 years. It's been available. Before, there was no grant at this level at the state for lead remediation for.
Yeah. I mean, it goes all the way down to the soil.
Payments, yeah.
I mean, they're doing soil treatments, soil samples. I mean, I have a house on Bedford Avenue. They painted the entire metal roof because it came back lead positive. Porches, like I said, they do.
How long does that process take?
Problem is right now there's only one contractor that's certified. He's from Was he from Richmond? Is that where Andre's from?
Yes.
Okay, so he's coming all the way from Richmond to do it because no one in Lynchburg has a team. Well, you might have one guy certified, but the whole team has to be certified.
Yeah.
So right now he's the only one, and I think we've gotten 5 done from Euclid, Campbell, Bedford, but we have pretty much a spreadsheet.
Would it be unreasonable to say it took 6 months?
Yeah, I mean, if we had more people, it'd be quicker. But right now, I would say 6 months is yeah.
You could order some windows.
Well, no, but this one's already 6 months in, and they have like a time. So we're already this one's been waiting a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we've approved these types of windows, no, it's not precedent, but we approved these types of windows before for the front of the house.
The sides on Capitol because
Okay, on the
there was
sides.
no way to get it out. It was a real problem.
Okay.
What about that front steps? They look pretty ragged.
How old is that? Well, no, those are
Cement steps?
Yeah, so
Is that included or not?
Those will be fixed. The thing is, I had to tidy up. I mean, Keith and Julia were all over me since I bought it, so we're trying to get the house weatherproof or sealed up so no more rain penetrates it. And then once we get all the stucco and these windows in, we'll work on that bottom step, or the last 2 steps are pretty bad. But yeah, that's on the list as well.
So is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve as submitted.
Which includes repairing the windows on the front
Okay.
That's what it says.
and replacing side and back windows.
With a legacy.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you can get to them.
Well, the legacy windows those, Susan, we get those in 30 days or less?
No, I'm saying.
Yeah, it's typically we've had a month.
Some of
Yeah,
those side
reliably.
windows are kind of covered with vines.
Oh, no, so the left side, we just ripped them all down yesterday. So all the stucco, we got to it yesterday. Yeah, the guy was back over there. I told him because, like I said, I knew we had the meeting coming up, so they've got it all demoed, and we haven't got the back side yet. That's another story. So.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any more?
Just to clarify, so all of the windows on the side and the back are being replaced with the PVC, cellular PVC, is that correct?
That's the
There's
plan,
none
yeah.
of them are salvageable at all, or we're just doing a blanket approval for all of them?
I think
Is
that's
that-
okay.
okay.
to be
They're probably
consistent.
covered with lead
Sure.
paint, too.
Like,
Okay.
Well, they're all
Just
covered with
wanted
lead.
to
That's why.
clarify.
Well, that's every window in the sash is all covered in lead. So that was a whole nother thing. I mean, I could get into the abatement on the front windows. Yeah, they're going to put paint on them. 2 or 3 years from now, someone opens the window, the lead's gonna be apparent again. So we're kind of back to square one. But I brought that up many times. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. But yeah, then the whole house will be contaminated again, and I'll probably be back here. But there's nothing I can do if we keep those old windows in place in the front. There's gonna be lead in the house again.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you and good luck.
Thanks for the work you do.
No problem. Thank you guys.
There's so many apartments on River. You'd think that wouldn't, I don't know,
It's the place to be.
Currently, but I think
Okay.
a lot of the ones that Tony West is doing, I don't think those are.
So the next 3 items on your
So he probably
agenda
doesn't have to deal with all that
are
stuff.
related, the request of William Cook of AHC Investments to do extensive work at 1312, 1316, and 1316 and a half. So if we start with 1312 and you tell us your name and your address, please.
Yes, ma'am. My name is William Cook. I'm with AHC Investments. I co-own the property, also the contractor who will be doing the work. So for 1312 Church Street, Lynchburg, the plan is to rehab the house. We have received a conditional use permit to turn it into 2 dwellings, go from 1 3-story dwelling to 2 separate dwellings. And really what a couple of the big things we need to address is to make that happen is just repair the building envelope to make it safe, improve energy efficiency, create functional outdoor space, and just improve the overall exterior appearance of the buildings. They've been, somewhat underkept. Two of the 3 have been occupied off and on, but they've been under maintained for decades now.
How many building units are there?
So 5 in total.
And you're gonna work on all 5?
We only own 3 of the 5.
Oh, you own 3 of the 5?
Correct. So we own the 2 end units, and then
Okay.
the one that's close, the one furthest up, Church Street, closest to Nancy Marion's house.
Yep.
So the 2 closest to her house, and then 1 on the far end closest to Lighthouse.
Under-maintained is an understatement. So,
So the general scope of work, as we see it, is the roof, downspout, and gutter repairs. So the roofs on 1312 and 1316, you have an existing terracotta roof over the front porches, which will be maintained. There's some terracotta coping and some stucco coping on the main roof, which again will be maintained. The roofs have been replaced all in the last 20 to 30 years, depending different ages for different roofs with EPDM membrane, and then they all have where they have the gutters that are existing on the back are all half rounds, and we believe those to be a painted aluminum half round. They're not copper. And then you have various forms of other gutters. On the front, you have a concealed gutter with painted aluminum downspouts. So we would replace all that with in-kind materials anywhere we needed to. Try to repair what's in place, but
How do the tenants on the houses that are in the middle get to the first floor or the basement?
So if in this picture here, you can see
On the side,
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So 1312, the access to the exterior access to the basement is down a sidewalk, down the side here, and into down these stairs, and then on this side, based on this photo, there's a door to the left, that access, and then there's a rear entry as well, on grade.
Oh, all the way around the back?
Correct. So here's one of the rear entries, and then for 1316, the entry is kind of I call it an English basement. I don't know if that's the correct term, but there's a separate stair that goes underneath the main porch, the front porch.
Okay.
And that's the same for I think 13.
Yeah.
14 and 14 and a half that are the 2. You can actually see there's 3 that have been all at one point owned by the same person and recently roofed, and then the 2 furthest up the hill were re-roofed. I think those were the ones that re-roofed maybe just 20 years ago or so, and when the former owner owned them, but they went ahead and replaced the that front porch with the different material. So getting the roof, downspout, and gutters replaced with in-kind materials, refinishing the exterior. So we have stucco on the front wall. It's a pigmented stucco. Some areas have been painted, to accent the embossments, the variations in face, and then all the exterior wood and even some of the concrete has been painted. It's a tongue groove wood porch, wood railings, wood beadboard wood ceiling, wood soffits, all that. So the plan there would be just touch up, wood putty, caulk, paint, or if there was something that just was unworkable, replace it with the same in-kind material. But then paint it. Then we provided the paint specs for that. We also feel like that, in a lot of ways, other than the prep work, would actually help us conceal any hazardous material concerns there, which we're very, very familiar with.
You leave the coal chutes there?
Yeah, so we would leave the coal chute entry there.
Yeah, it's awesome, yeah.
On the inside, we
Yeah,
have to
sure.
close that up because
Of
it's
course.
an inaccessible condition, unusable space, but yes.
It's just
On the
a
outside, the
nice
chutes would
original
be.
touch out there, so.
Yes, yeah, we're not, the only doors that, only window openings, some of these units have windows that are just irreparable. We do plan on using the front doors and refinishing them, repairing and refinishing. And we'd like to repair and reuse the front windows with a storm window panel. The side windows and the rear windows, some are just missing. And you can't do anything. I mean, there's no way to replace them. So we've proposed to use a Revive window product from Windsor, which I think has a precedence as being approved through the city. We've included the spec on that in the submission as well. It's an aluminum clad wood window using a soft wood. Profiles available to get close but not exact to what we have. Double hung. So that's the plan there. Then the only doors that we would intend to potentially replace is we do have part of our submission is to allow us to build decks off the back to take advantage of the really neat views that exist looking off that hill of Church Street down. I guess that's kind of Diamond Hill, looking down over the rest of downtown. So at those.
Terry's shoe right down there.
Yes, sir.
So that was, yeah.
Yes, sir. So we've gone ahead and cleared some of the overgrowth in the back just to kind of trying to get it exposed and see what we find, but thankfully not too
So
much.
is this the type of deck you're proposing, or?
So what we'd this was a similar deck built elsewhere. What we proposed is both a steel and wood frame deck. This is all in the rear of the building. So, and as we understood it, we would like to use something somewhat contemporary but still befitting of. We like to use newer age materials that will last, require low maintenance, but also have something that wouldn't look completely off. So what we're proposing is a steel frame deck with some wood, pressure treated wood infill, and then a Trex decking product, and then having a painted black steel rail similar to that as the deck perimeters. And we have a couple other rails that never existed that we would need to that we would need to install. So that railing too would be similarly used. If you look at this photo, both that photo that's in front of you, thank you, Eve, and this photo, we have to create a railing to protect our potential tenants as they come down that walkway from falling onto the lighthouse's property.
So that fire escape is not on your building?
Correct. That's the lighthouse, back of the lighthouse property, not ours. So getting back to the scope. Talked about the painting, talked about the window and door replacements, but mostly repairs. Basement access railings and gates, again, so the railing going down the side of 1312 is going to be mandatory just from a safety code perspective. And then same going down the stair under 1316. So currently there's an existing concrete stair, there's no railing. So we have to add a railing, and our thought was we would add, and no buffer to give us safe guardrail, so we would put a guardrail across the fall hazards with a handrail attached, similar to that look. And then going down the side of 1316 and a half, we would have the same situation. There's a small stair with a gate. We've replaced the pressure treated wood gate with a steel gate, something that you could see through but would still look, more less temporary, more permanent. The rear overlook decks we talked about, we have that sketch, and then the concrete porches. So there's an array of damage. I mean, some of the front stoops are in decent shape, but some of the front stoops are cracked, failing, and have weeds growing in them. So we would cut those out, replace them with a similar concrete, room finished. The photos going down along the side of 1312, same thing. There's just some damaged concrete ramps and stairs we'd want to re-pour. And then around back, so these 3 red, we'd like to actually expand those. Currently, if you see, these kind of look like, an L, with the short leg being where the current concrete porch is. We'd tear those out because most of them cracked, sunken, whatever, just through age and settlement, and extend those out about 4 feet to be in line with our porches above, just in terms of how they protrude out, but to give a safe space for grilling, somewhere where you're not grilling up underneath the house or too close to a deck above.
How many units total?
So each unit will become 2. So we'll have 6. The lower levels will be single bedroom, and then there's 2 of them are 2-bedroom above, and 1 will be a 3-bedroom above. So 6 singles, 2 2-beds, and 1 3-bed.
You mentioned storm windows, and I hadn't picked that out in the application. Can you tell us anything about those?
It's similar to the energy efficiency. If we need, on the front of the building, if, I think Eve mentioned this earlier, it would almost be nice to have the leeway to say, if the Revive window wasn't acceptable, it's an aluminum clad wood window, so we've done it on numerous historical projects elsewhere. If it was acceptable for us to replace the windows on the front, we probably would prefer to do that on one of the units at least, but maybe all 3. It just depends upon cost, an evaluation of how much repair we're going to have to do, plus the cost of adding storm windows. And I don't like the idea of storm. I don't like the use of storm windows if it can be avoided, just because I kind of look at a double hung window as it needs to be functional. Otherwise, it would just be a fixed unit. But it needs to be functional for code, but as well as to take advantage. I mean, to be energy efficient, you need to not only be able to keep it closed and the building well insulated, but you need to be able to open it on your cooler, more agreeable temperature days and take advantage of what that has to offer. So the storm windows, just by nature, they're not kept up well. To a trained eye, you see them, they look out of place. So if it was permissible, we'd love to. 1312 is the one unit that's actually in the best shape. The 1316, I think we'd like to replace the front. 1316 and a half, we'd like to replace the windows on the front. The doors, I think we can repair, but the windows would take a lot of work.
But you're asking to replace them with that PVC?
So it's not a PVC, so it's aluminum clad. So this,
I'm sorry,
this
aluminum clad.
is like the high end, approved, like standard approved. Someone mentioned to me that this Revive Windsor product has been approved for use in all historical applications in Lynchburg. I couldn't find that. I didn't have access.
I can't speak to all,
but I guess it's been used. It's been used in various locations throughout. Maybe not all applications, but it's been time and time again approved as a substitution.
The only parking is on the street?
Correct. That's the planning commission's fault or decision. So when people don't have enough places to park, that's not on us. So
how is this window different than the one before? That the front.
This is
couldn't-
one that we've approved. It's in our guidelines.
That's approved, and one from previous was not.
Was not in our guidelines.
We're proposing to replace it with a wood window, with a double pane, double hung wood window. It just will have a metal cladding, a painted metal cladding on the exterior that protects the wood. It really isn't a smart decision to put a wood window on the exterior of a building.
Did you get those photos?
Yeah.
It just, you'd be lucky for it to last 15.
Well, it's not
We're
doing
holding out on some pictures here.
We're not looking for longevity,
Oh, it's the next one.
unfortunately.
Or
Different one.
There's
like 6 of them.
My house was built in 1890.
I know, I
Yeah.
couldn't figure out what we were
that's the
talking
one I
about.
want to rent right there.
Right.
There's one, there's a shoe out there, I love it, so.
That's nice.
And that, yeah, and that's the low view, you know, our thought is to put that porch up at the second story elevation. It would really be a,
I'll check out both.
The other thing in your application, you talked about adding lighting, and you didn't tell us what kind of lighting fixtures.
yeah, my apologies. So the specific location we need to add the lighting is to the side of 1312, outside of the door. It would be a wall sconce. Something I was having trouble finding anything, you know, is there one there? It may be more of an emergency light. So we've got, so those lights would be kept, you know, cleaned. We would want to use and then, so on 1312, we have to get access around the side and make sure there's adequate lighting there. So that's more than likely. It didn't look to have any existing fixture anywhere we could find that was suitable. So we would propose a new wall sconce there just to provide, you know, safe light by the door. 1316, there's no light going down into the English basement entry. So we'd want to hang another ceiling mounted fixture similar to below. And then on 1316 and a half, going around the side of the building, we too would need another wall sconce there.
So would those be administratively approved by you, Eve, after the fact, once he knows which materials he wants?
If that's what you put in your motion, otherwise it would come back. Or if you have a general idea of what you would approve, you can approve that with this application.
I think typically they need to supply the.
Right, the only thing that comes to mind that's in a similar type scenario is what Tony's done on Rivermont.
Yeah.
To me, that's what comes to mind.
Yeah.
Mr. West, rather, sorry.
I was struck by some of the lighting fixtures inside that are obviously very modern, and you think, oh,
Right.
who did that? So are there further questions?
So
Do I-
what, are we gonna have him come back with materials or administratively?
I'm happy with administrative approval.
Likewise, you're speaking to the
Yeah.
light specifically, I guess?
Or, were there any other materials that were?
I think the rest of it was pretty
covered,
well,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So do
Yeah,
I
I think
hear a motion?
You taking this one?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve as submitted,
With-
and with the exception of the materials being administratively approved.
For lighting materials. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. You have a big job ahead.
Yeah, thank you. See you.
It's a cool string of buildings.
really
Driven by
is.
them for, 25 years.
Yeah, it's
I had no
really
idea
nice.
how bad a shape they're in, and I look forward to seeing them in great shape.
Yeah.
1316 is very bad. It's,
Yeah.
if not taken care of, it'll fall down. So, but yeah, we're excited about it. Thank you very much.
Thanks for getting
Does that-
involved.
Does that take care of all three?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You'll hear from E.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
One at a time.
Our last item is the request
Oh, this one's the planner.
James Jean-Louis Jean.
Yes, that's correct.
Ah,
You got it right.
okay. To replace siding, windows, and roofs at 1014 Jackson. Thank you.
Hello, I'm James Jean-Louis Jeune, owner of 1014 Jackson Street. We are looking to do a full renovation of this property that seems to be sitting for a while. So the main thing on the outside is the siding, the hardwood siding. So most of them looks like they kind of molding and may be wood infested. So we're proposing to do hardy board, to replace it with the cement hardy board, and also the windows. We went with Lowe's to see if we could match it, if we could find a match to replace with hardwood, and to get it as close as possible. Because I think the first one in the front, we are still trying to see how we can match it, but the one with the arcs on the side, we were able to find this product with Lowe's, at Lowe's. And the third one would be the roof. So we are looking to put shingles, replace with shingles, kind of the same material, but just in the front because of I would say the pitch, I believe, we have to put metal. So we're proposing to replace it with metal, and I think that's pretty much it. And on the left side, I noticed there the last owner will probably replace the window. They had vinyl. They put some type of vinyl material, I believe. So we would just keep just the hardwood, just wood windows all throughout the house.
Big project.
Yes.
It's just as shocking now as it was hours ago when I first looked at these photos. I know.
But the only one is that large on the first floor, the large wood windows, the patterns. It's really hard to even build, and so I've spent over 6-7 hours. We've tried calling the manufacturer. It's kind of hard for them to even pre-build it. So that would be the only. I should be able to get it like the same way on the left side with the just straight pattern, but I'm not sure if we're still working on see if we can kind of match it the same way it is. But most of them, even on the inside, they look rotted, and I really don't think they'll be able to fix. I'm not sure, but I really don't think they will be able to fix.
We don't have any pictures of those, I guess, that like up closer, the windows.
The windows.
I've been surprised
I
with
mean,
what
you
can
can
be
kind
repaired.
There you go. Thank you.
That's rough.
So for the front, you're gonna replace the wood with, or are you?
You mean the windows?
Siding?
No, the siding, sorry.
Yeah, I'd like to replace them with hardy,
Yeah, I think it's party
The
all the way
cement
around.
fiber
the
board.
cement
I
fiber.
thought you could only do that in the sides and the back.
I
No?
don't think
I don't
it's
think
limited to
so.
any side, yeah.
All right.
We've approved it all the way around before.
I know, it
Oh,
needs
yeah.
love.
I think if it can be salvaged, we encourage that, but
Well, yeah, this house is really.
not
Yeah,
looking,
that-
not looking salvageable.
Right, that's.
Yeah, that ivy growth was pretty spectacular.
And what is the material on the roof currently? Not the metal portion, but the rest of it?
Shingles.
It is shingles currently,
asphalt
asphalt
shingles?
shingles?
Yes.
Okay.
I wonder if that's original.
No,
Not the asphalt shingles.
no.
no. And then the color you were proposing for the shingles was, sorry, I think I might have missed that part.
It's a William kind of gray.
Gray.
Like a dark
yeah,
gray?
Yeah.
like
Okay.
that, yeah.
Okay.
What are you gonna paint the house?
I wanted to paint it white, so I think I put that in there.
Is that in this application?
Yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to find out if white would be an option. I wanted to do the windows all white, and then with a light gray sheen for the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know when the house was built?
Say again.
You know when the house was built?
When? I'm not sure.
1870 or something.
I'm thinking it's definitely, it's older.
What's
really,
One year
old.
apart from ours.
1873 sticks in my head, but
So you're wanting, is the color, just to clarify, is the color part of this application, or are we just kind of talking about it for suggestion? I didn't.
It was not included in it, but
Right.
if he's
Okay.
asking for that at the same time, then we
Okay.
could.
So you want to do white on the hardy plank and then white trim as well, or are you thinking maybe like
Yeah,
a slight
white trim.
contrast?
White trim.
So everything white,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Emmett,
Even the
if you were here,
corbels?
you might negotiate
Yeah,
for a bold
right.
color.
Right.
But we'll get with, I think the white is.
I think you're gonna lose a lot of that detail on your soffits if
Yeah.
everything's
Yeah.
the same
Yeah, I would do a little
color.
bit of a contrast.
Yeah.
Would you be open to a,
A little bit contrast.
yeah,
Yeah.
just to make it
Yeah,
pop?
I surely be open.
You just get up on a big ladder and take care of it.
so what are our suggestions?
Congratulations, that has been an eyesore for years.
Yeah, it's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, and we're looking to tackle it.
Yeah.
And there was one thing that I didn't have in the application. We had a structural engineer. I think is what's his name? Yeah, Jeremy with I forgot the company. So on the left side, you'll see the siding is really damaged. So whoever's put the structure, they did it wrong. So they are proposing us that we may need to remove, kind of redo the whole, we might have to remove the siding and rebuild it all the way up. So I just wanted to make sure that that wouldn't be a problem because it's kind of shifting one way.
Right, I mean,
Yeah.
The way this
you
house
gotta
is
do
built,
it right,
Yeah.
like,
You replace one level, you kind of have to do both, so.
yeah.
So looking at what the 4 items in the application and then the 5th one of the color being white, I make a motion to approve as submitted.
Does that include, I mean, that would cover what he was just asking, that replacing, rebuilding that, right? Is
What's
that-
behind the hardy board? Is that what you're asking?
Right, yeah,
Yes.
Do the
'cause-
structural
Yes.
repair.
yeah, I was just making sure. And then if he wanted to do a shade of color just to contrast the white windows, that might be a nice.
Yeah.
Right, so on that, I think if you would just submit the color to Eve, she could administratively approve that. You wouldn't have to come back before us as long as you're not picking something that's outside of the guidelines, a very
Okay.
strange color.
But
Okay.
you're approving the all white, is that what you're including in the motion?
Good, thank you. So thank you. For clarification, painting the house white, and you're gonna come back to Eve with what color you would like to do the trim.
Or vice versa, do you, like, we were just thinking some contrast ideally, because the trim is, whether the house was white and the trim was a color, or vice versa, right? Like, or.
If you wanna do the body of the house something other than white, then I
No.
guess I'd like to know
No,
what that
you're saying
is.
no. Yeah. I don't, yeah.
I think what we're doing is, we're suggesting that, but we have no power over saying you can be white on white, right? Correct?
Correct.
Just for historic,
That's
like,
correct.
But it would be,
yes.
but it would be lovely to really make all those details.
We would
Yeah.
encourage you
Separate.
to highlight
Yeah.
those accents on your
Make
house.
this a showplace,
Yeah.
and 2 different colors, white somewhere and another color will make it either way, as I
Yeah.
said. Trim, white, base color, the color all the way around will make this shine.
Really
Yeah.
pop.
Right.
But we
Or even
can-
just the corbels, just doing those a darker color, like,
Yeah.
to reflect the roof, that would even look nice. If you want to do all the rest of it white, just a little, just
Yeah.
pick and choose a little bit of detail here and there to highlight, so.
Makes sense.
I would second the motion as submitted.
Okay, any further discussion? The house was built in 1818, according
Oh,
to
wow.
No kidding.
the city.
No,
So
that can't
that's
be.
what the city
I thought it was
website.
the 79.
79.
Yeah,
Oh,
18.
Well, I think last month we talked about
Okay.
Realtor.com
All right, all those
said
in favor say
1878.
aye.
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 Opposed? All right.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Quicker than I thought.
I know. He knew what he wanted and it was all within the guidelines, so.
So is there any more business to come before us?
Any words of wisdom, Ben? No?
Okay, then we're adjourned. Thank you all.